Chapter 1. The Magic in the Living Room. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Tommy. Tommy was 5 years old. To a tall person, Tommy's house was just a house. But to Tommy, the house was a giant kingdom full of secrets. Tommy woke up when the sun peered through his window. The sun was like a warm, yellow cat stretching its paws across his bed. "Good morning, sun," Tommy said. He put on his fuzzy blue slippers. Clack, clack, clack went the slippers on the wooden floor. The tiger on the rug in the living room, Tommy found his first friend. It was Barnaby. Barnaby was not a person. Barnaby was a big, orange tabby cat. To Tommy, Barnaby looked like a tiny tiger. "Hello, Mr. Tiger," Tommy whispered. Barnaby stretched his long legs. He let out a big yawn, showing his pink tongue. Barnaby rubbed his head against Tommy's knee. Purr, purr, purr. It sounded like a tiny motor inside the cat. Tommy felt Barnaby's fur. It was soft like a cloud. "Where are you going today, Barnaby?" Tommy asked. Barnaby didn't say words, but he flicked his tail toward the big glass door. The door led to the garden. Tommy knew that look. It was time for an adventure. The Wiggle-Waggle Friend. Before Tommy could reach the door, a fuzzy tornado hit his legs. It was Pepper. Pepper was a small, white puppy with one black ear. Yap, 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 Pepper was so happy. His tail went wiggle-waggle, wiggle-waggle. "Slow down, Pepper," Tommy laughed. He patted Pepper's head. Pepper's nose was wet and cold, like a little grape from the fridge. Pepper loved the world. He loved shoes. He loved balls. But most of all, he loved following Tommy. Together, the boy, the cat, and the dog stood at the glass door. Outside, the world was green and gold. Chapter 2. The Secret Language of the Garden. Tommy stepped outside. The grass felt tickly between his toes. The air smelled like wet earth and sweet honey. The tiny workers. Tommy knelt down near a big stone. He saw something moving. It was a line of tiny black ants. They were marching in a row, just like soldiers. 1, 2, 1, 2, Tommy counted. One ant was carrying a piece of a leaf. The leaf was much bigger than the ant. "You are very strong," Tommy said. He stayed very still so he wouldn't scare them. He learned that even the smallest creatures have very big jobs to do. The Flower Fairies. Tommy walked to the flower bed. This was his favorite place. His mommy called it the Rainbow Corner. The tulips. There were red tulips that looked like little cups. Tommy thought they were cups for the fairies to drink morning dew. The daisies. The daisies had white petals and yellow centers. They looked like little suns growing out of the ground. The lavender. Tommy leaned in and took a deep breath. Took a deep breath. Sniff, sniff. The lavender smelled like sleepy time and calm dreams. It was purple and fuzzy. Suddenly, something zoomed past Tommy's ear. Bzzzzt. It was a bumblebee. It was wearing a fuzzy yellow and black sweater. The bee landed on a bright pink rose. The rose was the queen of the garden. Her petals were soft like silk, but she had sharp thorns to protect herself. "Don't worry, Queen Rose," Tommy said. "I am a friend." The bee drank the sweet nectar and then flew away, dancing in the air. Tommy realized that the flowers and the bees were best friends. They helped each other grow. Chapter 3. The tree that touched the sky. In the middle of the garden stood the old oak tree. To Tommy, this tree was 1,000 years old. Its trunk was bumpy and brown. The grumpy resident. Tommy looked up and saw a flash of gray. Squeak! It was Sammy the Squirrel. Sammy had a very bushy tail and very fast feet. Sammy was busy hiding a nut in the crook of a branch. "Are you hungry, Sammy?" Tommy asked. Sammy stopped. He looked at Tommy with his bright black eyes. He twitched his nose. Then zip, he climbed higher and higher until he was just a little gray dot. The singing bluebird on the very top branch, a bluebird started to sing. Tweet-twee-woo. Tommy closed his eyes. He listened to the music. The wind whispered through the leaves. SHHH, SHHH, SHHH. The garden was playing a song just for him. Chapter 4. Lessons from the Earth. Tommy sat down under the tree. Pepper the puppy curled up in his lap. Barnaby the cat sat nearby, watching a butterfly. Tommy looked at his hands. They were a little bit dirty from the soil, but he didn't mind. He learned that cats teach us to be quiet and watch. Dogs teach us to be happy and play. Flowers teach us to be colorful and patient. Ants teach us to be hardworking and strong. The world was a very big place, but Tommy wasn't afraid. He was a small boy in a big world, but he had a big heart to love everything in it. As the sun began to set, turning the sky into a bowl of orange sherbet, Tommy's mommy called from the porch. "Tommy, time for dinner." Tommy stood up. He hugged Pepper. He waved goodbye to the oak tree. "See you tomorrow, world," he whispered. And as he walked back inside, the flowers nodded their heads in the breeze as if they were saying, "See you tomorrow, Tommy." Chapter 5. The Dance of the Silver Raindrops. The next morning, the sky was not yellow. It was a soft, sleepy gray. Tommy looked out the window and saw little silver lines falling from the sky. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. The sky is crying, Tommy cried, but his mommy smiled. No, Tommy, the sky is giving the earth a drink. In the earth a drink, the flowers are thirsty and the trees want to wash their leaves. Tommy put on his bright yellow raincoat. It made a swish-swish sound when he moved. He put on his big red boots. Clomp, clomp, clomp. The magic puddles in the garden, the ground was full of sky mirrors. That's what Tommy called puddles. He stood at the edge of a big one. He saw his own face looking back at him. 1, 2, 3, jump, splash, the water flew up like a fountain. Pepper the puppy tried to catch the water drops with his tongue. Pepper was a wet, happy mess. The slowest traveler on a large, wet leaf, Tommy found a tiny house moving very slowly. It was a snail. The snail was silver and brown. It carried its home on its back. Hello, Mr. Snail, Tommy said, leaning down. Are you going for a walk? The snail poked out 2 little horns. It left a shiny, glittery trail behind it. Tommy learned that you don't have to run to get where you are going. Sometimes going slow is just right. Chapter 6. The secret life of the pond at the back of the garden, hidden behind some tall, wavy grass, was a small pond. To Tommy, it was a deep blue ocean. The lily pad kingdom, the pond was covered in green circles called lily pads. They looked like dinner plates for frogs. Suddenly, boing, a big, green frog landed on a pad. He was bright green with big, golden eyes. Ribbit, said the frog. Ribbit, Tommy replied. The frog puffed out his throat like a balloon. He looked very proud. Tommy noticed a dragonfly hovering above the water. It had wings like thin glass and a body like a blue needle. It zipped left, it zipped right. It stayed perfectly still in the air. You are a tiny airplane, Tommy whispered. The golden fish deep in the water, Tommy saw a flash of orange. It was a goldfish. It moved its tail like a silk ribbon. The fish didn't make any noise at all. It just blew tiny bubbles. Pop, pop, pop. Tommy felt very peaceful watching the water. The pond was a quiet place for quiet thoughts. Chapter 7. The vegetable treasure hunt. After the rain stopped, the sun came back out to dry the world. Tommy went to the corner of the garden where the vegetables grew. This was his mommy's favorite place. The hidden carrots. Tommy, can you find the treasure? Mommy asked. Tommy looked at the green, feathery leaves sticking out of the dirt. He grabbed the green hair and gave a big tug. Pop. Out came a bright orange carrot. It was covered in dark soil. I found it! I found the orange gold, Tommy shouted. The grumpy tomatoes next were the tomato plants. They were tall and smelled very strong, a green, spicy smell. Some tomatoes were green and hard, like marbles. RD like marbles. Others were big, red, and shiny. These are the ones that are ready to play, Tommy said, picking a red tomato. It felt warm from the sun. The giant pumpkin in the very back, under big, prickly leaves, sat the king of the garden. It was a pumpkin. It was still small and green, but it was growing every day. Grow big, Mr. Pumpkin, Tommy said, patting its smooth skin. We need you for the autumn party. Chapter 8. The busy orchard. Beyond the vegetables were the fruit trees. Tommy loved the orchard because it was a place of sweet smells. The apple tree was full of red balls. Tommy's daddy picked one and sliced it. Crunch, it was sweet and juicy. Inside every apple is a star, Daddy said. He cut the apple sideways, and Tommy saw eat a little star shape made of seeds. A star and a fruit? Tommy marveled. The hummingbirds visit while Tommy ate his apple. A tiny bird, the smallest bird he had ever seen, flew to a red flower near the tree. Its wings moved so fast they were just a blur. Hum. It's a hummingbird, Daddy whispered. The bird was like a living jewel, green and red and sparkly. It didn't sit down. It ate while it flew. Tommy realized that the garden was full of different ways to live. Some sat still like the snail, and some never stopped moving like the hummingbird. Chapter 9. The butterfly party. The sun was high in the sky, making everything warm and bright. Tommy was sitting near the lavender, enjoying the sweet smell when he saw something truly magical. Wings of many colors. First, one butterfly flew by. It had bright orange wings with black stripes. It looked like a tiny piece of stained glass flying in the air. Then another. This one was yellow, soft like butter. Then a blue one like a piece of the sky floating down. It's a butterfly party. Tommy whispered. The butterflies danced in the air. They fluttered and glided. They landed on the purple lavender, their delicate legs gently touching the flowers. Tommy watched them drink nectar, just like the bees. He learned that butterflies help the flowers too, by carrying tiny flower dust from one plant to another. From wiggle to wings, Tommy remembered something his mommy told him. Do you know where butterflies come from, Tommy? She had asked. They start as little caterpillars. They eat and grow and grow. Then they make a cozy sleeping bag called a chrysalis. And when they wake up, poof, they are beautiful butterflies. Tommy looked closely at a caterpillar slowly munching on a leaf. It was green and bumpy. "Hello, future butterfly," he said softly. He thought it was amazing how a wobbly worm could turn into a flying flower. Lying flower. Chapter 10. The secret garden gate at the very edge of the garden, hidden behind a bushy rose vine, was an old wooden gate. It was usually closed, but today a tiny bit was open, just enough for Tommy to peek through. A peek into the beyond, Tommy pushed the gate gently. Kriak. It sounded like a sleepy yawn. On the other side was a path, less green and more brown. It led to a small, wild patch of tall weeds and ancient-looking stones. He saw new kinds of plants here. Some had fuzzy leaves. Some had tiny, bright red berries. He knew he shouldn't eat berries without asking Mommy first, but they looked like tiny jewels. The Buzzing Bee Hotel near one of the old stones, Tommy saw a strange wooden box with many small holes in it. It looked like a tiny apartment building. Suddenly, a little bee flew right into one of the holes. "It's a bee hotel," Tommy gasped. His daddy had told him that these hotels give lonely bees a safe place to sleep and lay their eggs. He loved knowing that even the smallest creatures had homes and safe places. He carefully closed the gate. The garden was big, but the world outside the garden was even bigger. He felt excited to know there was always more to discover. Chapter 11. The moonflower's secret. As the sun began to go down, a different kind of magic started in the garden. This was the time for the night shift. Flowers that wake up at night, Tommy sat with his daddy on the porch swing. The air was getting cooler. Suddenly, Daddy pointed to a vine near the wall. "Look, Tommy, the moonflowers are waking up." Tommy had never noticed these flowers before. During the day, they looked like closed green swirls. But now, slowly, they started to unfold. They were big white flowers, and they smelled so sweet and strong, like perfume. "They sleep during the day and wake up at night just like owls," Tommy said. He thought it was very clever of them. They waited for the moon to come out before they showed their beauty. The sound of the night. As the sky turned dark blue, Tommy heard new sounds. Crickets, chirp, chirp, chirp. They sounded like tiny musicians playing little violins. Frogs. From the pond, he heard the deeper ribbit, ribbit of the frogs. Owls far away, and sometimes from far, far away, he would hear a soft hoo-hoo of an owl. The garden was never truly quiet. It just changed its song from day to night. Chapter 12. Stargazing and wishes. Finally, the sky was completely dark. Billions of tiny lights popped out, like glitter sprinkled on a black blanket. "Dots of light. Look, Tommy," Daddy said, pointing up. "Those are stars. They are like giant suns, very, very far away." Tommy lay on a blanket on the grass. Encat on the grass. He tried to count the stars, but there were too many. They twinkled and shimmered. Some were bright, some were dim. "Do stars ever fall?" Tommy asked. "Sometimes," Daddy said. "They are called shooting stars. If you see one, you can make a wish." Tommy closed his eyes and wished for a special wish. He wished that every day could be a new adventure, just like today. The moon, a smiling face. Then he saw the moon. It was big and round and yellow, like a giant cheese wheel in the sky. It looked down at him, a friendly, smiling face. The moon made the garden glow with soft, silver light. The moonflowers looked even more magical. Tommy felt safe and happy. He had seen so much today. He saw tiny ants and big trees. He saw fast bees and slow snails. He saw flowers that slept in the day and flowers that slept at night. He saw stars that were far away and a moon that looked close enough to touch. His big world was full of small wonders, and he knew there were always more to find. Chapter 13. The sparkling morning dew. NH letter 1 EF and GGI letter 1 ECD T Suwang Maya letter 1 EA5P Lon. The next day, Tommy woke up even earlier. The sky was a pale, soft pink, like the inside of a seashell. He ran out to the garden before the sun had fully climbed the trees. Diamond grass. When he stepped onto the lawn, he noticed something different. The grass was not just green, it was covered in millions of tiny, clear beads. "Mommy, look." "Garden is covered in diamonds?" Tommy shouted. These were dewdrop. Each drop was a perfect, tiny circle of water. When the first ray of sunlight hit them, they sparkled in red, blue, and gold. Tommy knelt down. He touched a blade of grass with his finger. Plop! The dewdrop rolled off and soaked into the earth. He learned that the night leaves a gift for the morning. The dew was like a cold, refreshing bath for the thirsty grass. The spiders laced near the rose bushes. Tommy saw something even more beautiful. A spider had busy all night weaving a web. It looked like a piece of delicate lace or a silver net. The dewdrops were caught in the web, looking like a necklace for a forest queen. Tommy didn't touch it. He knew the spider had worked very hard. He watched the spider, a tiny creature with 8 busy legs, sitting in the middle of her silver home. "You are a great artist," Tommy whispered. Chapter 14. The Birds' Breakfast Time, Gi letter 1edd, and Song C letter 1e7 a cock lao a chim. As the sun got warmer, the garden became very noisy. It was time for the birds to have their breakfast. The red-breasted robin Tommy saw a robin hopping on the lawn. The robin had a bright orange-red chest and a sharp, clever beak. Clever beak, he would hop, 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 then stop and tilt his head to one side. Is he listening to the grass? Tommy wondered. Suddenly, tug, the robin pulled a long, wiggly earthworm out of the ground. "Good catch, Mr. Robin," Tommy clapped his hands. The robin looked at him for a second, chirped a happy song, and flew away to his nest in the apple tree to feed his hungry babies. The blue jay's blue cape, then came a blue jay. He was bigger and louder. "Jay, Jay, Jay," he called. He looked like he was wearing a bright blue cape and a little crown on his head. He flew down to the bird feeder and scattered some seeds. Tommy realized that everyone in the garden had a different breakfast. The bees had flower juice. The robins had wiggly worms. The blue jays had crunchy seeds. And Tommy, he was starting to feel hungry for his pancakes. Chapter 15. The Mossy Cave, Hang D stroke letter 189 and G Raruzan. After his own breakfast, Tommy decided to explore the dark, cool corner of the garden behind the big rocks. The soft green carpet in this corner, the sun didn't shine very much. It was damp and quiet. Here, the ground was covered in moss. Tommy touched it. It felt like a thick, soft carpet, or perhaps the fur of a giant, sleeping green bear. "This is my secret cave," Tommy thought. He found a small toad sitting on a mossy rock. The toad was bumpy and brown, and it didn't move at all. It looked like a stone itself. Tommy sat very still. He watched the toad's sides move in and out as it breathed. The tiny ferns next to the toad were ferns. Their leaves didn't look like regular leaves. They looked like green feathers or tiny fans. Some of them were still curled up in little circles, like sleeping snakes. "Wake up, little ferns," Tommy said gently. He learned that the garden has 2 faces, the bright, sunny face where the roses live, and the cool, quiet face where the moss and toads live. He loved both. Chapter 16. The Wind's Secret Messages, L letter 1edd, INH letter 1EAFN, BIM letter 1EADTC letter 1E7, a geo in the afternoon, a big wind started to blow. It wasn't a cold wind. It was a warm, playful breeze. The dancing trees Tommy watched the big oak tree. Its branches were waving back and forth. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. It looked like the tree was dancing with the clouds. "What are you saying, wind?" Tommy asked, tilting his head. The wind blew through the wind chimes on the porch. Tinkle, tinkle, cling. It sounded like fairy bells. It blew through the tall sunflowers, making their heavy yellow heads nod as if they were saying, "Yes, yes, yes." The flying seeds the wind also brought travelers. Tommy saw white, fluffy things floating in the air. They were dandelion seeds. They looked like tiny parachutes. "Where are you going?" Tommy chased one. He caught a dandelion clock, a white, fluffy flower head, and took a deep breath. Whoosh! He blew as hard as he could. 100 tiny parachutists flew into the sky, riding the wind to find a new home. "Grow well, little seeds," Tommy called out. He understood now that the wind was the garden's mailman, carrying seeds and stories from one place to another. Chapter 17. The anthill city Tommy walked to the edge of the gravel path. There, he saw a small mound of sand. It looked like a tiny volcano. This was the entrance to the anthill city. Tommy lay down on his tummy. He put his chin on his hands. He watched the tiny brown ants coming in and out. They were very busy. No one was sitting still. The busy highway, the ants followed a path that only they could see. It was an invisible highway. "Where are you going in such a hurry?" Tommy asked. One ant was carrying a crumb of a cracker. The crumb was 10 times bigger than the ant. It was like Tommy trying to carry a whole car, but the ant did not give up. It pushed and pulled. Then another ant came to help. Together, they moved the heavy treasure into the dark hole. "Teamwork," Tommy whispered. He learned that when friends work together, no job is too big. Chapter 18. The old watering can in the corner of the garden sat a big, green metal watering can. It was old and had some rusty spots. It hadn't been moved for a long time. The hidden resident Tommy reached out to touch the handle. Suddenly, something small and brown hopped out of the spout. Boing, it was a tiny toad. He was even smaller than the one Tommy saw in the mossy cave. This toad had skin that looked like dry leaves. He sat on a brick and blinked his big, golden eyes at Tommy. "This is your house, isn't it?" Tommy said. Inside the watering can, it was cool and dark. It was the perfect place for a toad to hide from the hot sun. Tommy decided to leave the watering can right where it was. He didn't want to take away the toad's bedroom. Chapter 19. The garden kitchen mommy came out with a big basket. Tommy, would you like to help me gather some herbs for the soup? Tommy loved the herb garden. These plants didn't have big flowers, but they had the strongest smells in the world. The mint. Tommy rubbed a leaf between his fingers. It smelled cool and fresh like toothpaste. This makes my nose feel happy, he laughed. The rosemary. This plant felt like a tiny Christmas tree. Its leaves were like soft needles. It smelled like the forest. The basil. The leaves were big, green, and floppy. It smelled like Tommy's favorite pizza. They put a little bit of each plant into the basket. Tea into the basket. Tommy felt proud. He was helping to make dinner using the magic of the garden. Chapter 20. The colors of the sunset. The sun began to drop lower in the sky. It was no longer yellow. It turned into a deep, glowing orange. Then it turned pink. Then it turned a soft, dusty purple. The long shadows. Tommy stood in the middle of the grass. He looked down and saw his shadow. Because the sun was low, his shadow was very, very long. He looked like a giant. He moved his arms. The shadow giant moved its arms. He hopped. The shadow giant hopped. I am as tall as the trees, Tommy shouted, waving at the sky. The evening blanket. The flowers began to change too. The daisies started to close their petals for the night. They looked like they were folding their hands to say a prayer. The birds stopped their loud singing and began to whisper soft, good-night chirps to each other. The garden was getting ready for bed. Chapter 21. The firefly lanterns. Just as the last bit of pink left the sky, Tommy saw a tiny flash in the bushes. Blink, then another one near the tall grass. Blink, blink. Mommy, look, the stars are falling, Tommy cried. No, Tommy, Mommy said, sitting beside him. Those are fireflies. They carry little lanterns in their tails. Dancing lights. Tommy tried to follow one with his eyes. The firefly glowed with a soft, neon green light. It stayed bright for a second, then went dark. It was like a game of hide-and-seek in the dark. He cupped his hands together and gently caught one. He looked through the cracks of his fingers. The little bug walked across his palm. It didn't burn. It was a cold, magical light. You are a little spark of joy, Tommy said. He opened his hands and watched the firefly fly up toward the moon. Chapter 22. Dreaming of the garden. Finally, it was time for Tommy to go inside. He took off his red boots and his yellow raincoat. He washed the garden dirt off his hands. The storybook bed. Mommy tucked him into his warm bed. The sheets smelled like the wind and the sun. What was your favorite part of the day, Tommy? She asked. Tommy thought for a long time. He thought about the orange cat, the Wiggle-Waggle puppy, the strong ants, the silver snail, and the firefly lanterns. Everything, Tommy sighed happily. The whole world is my favorite. The adventure never ends. Tommy closed his eyes. In his dreams, he was flying with the butterflies. He was talking to the frogs in the pond. He was growing tall like the oak tree. He knew that tomorrow, the sun would come back. The dew would sparkle again. The flowers would wake up. And Tommy would be there to see it all. Because for a 5-year-old boy, every day is a brand new story.